Hey everyone, Ricky here, back with another video. Today we talk about the legal side of setting up your business. We'll cover a few questions that you asked about, specifically about setting up and managing an LLC in the United States. Since none of us here at the Futur are lawyers, we brought in Joey Vitale. He's an expert attorney who specializes in working with creative entrepreneurs just like you. Joey is the author of The Setup Kit, a new resource that walks you through the setup of an LLC in the United States. You can pick this up right now in our shop, but before you go, you're going to want to meet Joey. He isn't like any lawyer you've ever met, and his story is, well, I'll just let him tell it.
You guys might already be like, who is this guy? Why is he calling himself a lawyer? I am not getting typical TV lawyer vibes, and I agree with you. I got tricked into going to law school. My dad bribed me with a car. It was between going to law school or joining the family concrete business. And I hate concrete more than I hate reading a lot of books. So I did that. And then I realized quickly that the courtroom scene wasn't a good fit for me. Luckily, found this amazing group of online entrepreneurs, creatives like you guys, and just really found my jam. What I found to be really interesting about the law, and I know Ben aligns with me on this, is that obviously legal stuff is important, right? Like to the extent that you can do some quick, basic, easy stuff to protect your business, you want to do that. But a lot of heart-centered, passionate entrepreneurs make the mistake of overthinking this, and they take those typical perfectionist tendencies with them when they talk to a lawyer, and it makes them freak out and feel like they have to completely be bulletproof to run a business. And I'm not here to slow you guys down or to make you guys even more risk averse than you already are. But I do believe that getting that LLC in place, getting that privacy policy, that terms of use, super low-hanging fruit layers of protection for you. And to the extent that you guys have questions about how to get this stuff done, that's what we're here to do.
Hi. So I thought I've been wanting to do an LLC, but a lot of people have been telling me if I do that, my taxes are going to be higher versus being, getting a 1099. And so that added more complication. So I'm like confused, like, should I stay on a 1099 or should I LLC my business? So that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, Yolanda, this is a great question. There is a difference between how you set your business up legally and how your business is taxed. And especially when you create an LLC, it doesn't mean anything. Here's what I mean. When you exist as a sole proprietor in your business, then you're automatically taxed as a sole proprietor. If you were to start a corporation, then you'd automatically be taxed as a corporation. But when you form an LLC, the IRS does not have a tax status for LLCs. So by default, if you form an LLC and you're the single owner of that LLC, you're taxed as a sole proprietor still. And if you have multiple members or multiple owners in your LLC, then you're automatically taxed as a partnership. And so by default, and you can change this if you want, but by default, forming an LLC doesn't change the fact that you're still paying taxes as a sole proprietor. When it comes to paying taxes, the IRS has these glasses on where they don't see that you're an LLC. Like they don't understand what that means.
Okay.
So as long as you're the single owner, they still think, okay, so you're a sole proprietor unless you tell them otherwise.
And the big difference, the big protection that you get is against like lawsuits, right? And personal liability.
Yes.
Protects your own assets, right?
An LLC is purely a legal protection entity. It doesn't affect your taxes at all. Imagine that you've got this like open floor house.
Right.
And it's all one big room on the first floor. And you've also got a basement.
Right.
Forming your LLC allows you to operate the business on that first floor instead of the basement. So the basement is kind of where you hang out personally. And by having this limited liability company, you now can have this space that is meant for your business. And you might have different, like I've got an apartment here in Chicago I have like my living room area and my kitchen area, but it's all like an open floor space, and
Nice.
there's not really a lot of separate rooms other than the bedroom. And a lot of businesses, especially in the creative space, they will have, kind of like you suggested, a lot of different DBAs running under the same umbrella LLC,
Right.
or basically having the same one LLC where you're doing a lot of stuff. And that is totally allowed and okay. A potential risk, though, is that if you only have one LLC, then what happens when something bad happens and it affects one aspect of your business, and they come after you, and let's say that thing where something bad happened was actually not where you're spending most of your time and your money in your business. And so they come after you, and even though this is a small part of your business, now they can get into the bigger part of your business's assets. So what we sometimes see businesses do, and what I recommend, is thinking about building a second floor. And that second floor is where you've got your bedrooms and all the other rooms. And so whenever one of your kind of subsidiaries or one arm of your business starts to do particularly well, and you want to protect those assets the same way that you want to protect your personal assets, then you just create a new LLC, like a second floor bedroom. You transfer all the assets into that space, and now you've shielded that. And so really what businesses in that example start doing is, it's like they use that first floor, their main LLC, as what I call a sandbox LLC. So it allows them to have kind of this combined risk that is separated from them personally. And then as they start to validate what's going on with their business and build those assets, they can move certain divisions into separate LLCs. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. So you're saying starting out, it might not be a huge issue to have a big umbrella because of the limited risk, but as you grow, it's good to move it into different rooms or a different floor.
Yeah. And my only other kind of general recommendation here would be is if one of those subsidiaries is particularly high risk. For example, I've got a videographer friend here in Chicago who decided that in addition to his videography, he wants to create a photo booth business. Like he wants to build the photo booth.
Right.
But if that thing breaks down on somebody inside of it, like that's a very high risk business venture. And so even though neither of those businesses were like super well established, he was like, this is risky enough that I just want to create an LLC particularly for it.
Okay. That makes sense.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Can a person or an army of one be an LLC if it's just one person? And if so, what happens when you're working with freelancers? Maybe you're hiring them or working alongside them.
Yeah, good question. The short answer is yes. You can absolutely be an LLC of one person. The follow-up to that is when you are an LLC of one person, legally that's called a single member LLC. And a member in the LLC world is an owner. So a single owner LLC. And if you are a single owner LLC and you start adding people to your team, you are still a single member LLC, meaning there's only one owner in the company. It's not until any of those freelancers or any of those teammates rise to co-owner status that you would need to change your LLC docs to show that it's a multiple member LLC.
As far as hiring LLCs goes, I know from my experience, and maybe Joey, you can weigh in, but hiring people to do jobs and paying them, like, if you're a designer and you hire a developer and a copywriter to help you out with a website, that's just a business expense. This is like, especially if it's just 1099, which means they're a subcontractor. Yeah. That just goes, it gets kind of classified under those business expenses. So
I've had a full-time job for a while now. And just recently this year, back in, I think it was it was early March, kind of before the whole pandemic thing happened, formed an LLC, got all the paperwork and everything through LegalZoom done. And then, so that seemed pretty easy at first, but then after that, it's kind of like, I don't know, I was just kind of weary of, so what do I do now? Like, how do I maintain this? Do I need to do anything? Is there anyone I need to like be checking up with on this kind of thing? And also, you know, what complications can come with having a side gig and everything while having a full-time job and paying those taxes, and just the whole financial side of that too. But
there's not a whole lot that goes into maintaining your LLC, and it varies by state. The main thing is you just want to make sure that you keep it alive.
Gotcha. And that's just a yearly thing, really? What you mean by that?
Yeah. So every state is a little bit different. I'm glad we're talking about this, because inside the setup kit, we do have a table that goes through the 50 states and DC.
Okay.
If there are annual requirements and what that means. Just to let you guys know, usually those rules and processes state by state don't change very often, but my team, every 6 months, we're going to be doing a full audit of those annual requirements to make sure that you guys have the up-to-date information.
And that does it for today's video. I hope you guys got some value out of this cut down. If you want the full version of the webinar, which is over an hour long, it's available to everyone who enrolls in the setup kit. And if you've been thinking about protecting your personal liability by setting up an LLC in the US, I highly recommend checking out the new kit. Joey walks through the entire process of all 50 states and helps you avoid the pitfalls that many entrepreneurs make. The link is in the description below. I know I got a lot of value seeing Joey in action. And if you'd like to see more of him, leave a question below about the legal side of business in the comment section below, and we'll get him back for some more content. Thanks for watching, and please, if you can, make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.